Why do we have to keep looking back in this racial conversation? Wouldn't it be better if we move forward?
Say what?
Say what? That's what.
That's what that was. Yeah. You know what? When I first hear things like that, what the unfiltered version in my head says, well, I don't know how unfiltered it is. This is still somewhat filtered, but my first thought is, what do you think we're doing? What do you think this is? This is forward.
That's
like
right.
that. Like nobody's going backwards to stay there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we're bringing up the backwards in order to move forward. Like I don't want to visit the ugly past any more than anyone else does. I certainly don't want to visit the ugly past just for the sake of staying there.
No, it's not fun.
You know, it's not fun. So the first thought is, why do you assume that we're not moving forward? Was my first retort internally in my head, and I usually have to kill that and just try to be more understanding. But for this segment, for my part of it anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Like, bro, like we are moving forward. Why do you not think this is moving forward?
Yeah, it's a hard one to do, right? Because it goes to that sort of framework of simplistic, complex, simple, right? I think there's a simplistic way of saying it, like, oh, we just need to move forward. But to move forward, particularly in a situation like this, there's a lot of complexity that's actually at play in the midst of it. And you've got to go through that complexity before you can actually give a simple answer to it.
Right.
Right. And so, I mean, you think about it in lots of things that you think about in life, right? Like you can think about it in terms of your health, right? If you get to a certain point in your health and you go to the doctor, it's like, hey, I'm ready to move forward. And he's like, well, let me tell you how you got here, right? Like there's lots of different things that happen to get you here. And what happens is if you don't stop doing these things that you were doing in the past, it doesn't matter what I tell you to do going forward, because you're going to just keep finding yourself in the same situation because you actually haven't fixed the habits that got you here in the first place.
Right.
Same thing when you go to your car, right? Like if you don't get your oil changed or your tires rotated, then you're going to find that as you go forward, something bad is going to happen to your car in the engine from the oil change, or your tires are going to wear out quickly. And you're going to be like, man, every time I come in here, y'all are telling me something wrong with my car. Just fix it. And they're like, look, sir, if you would just do the routine maintenance on your car,
right,
well, we wouldn't be here. So I need to tell you why your routine maintenance didn't actually, what the problems it created because you didn't do it, so that when I give you a solution going forward, you maintain and do the routine maintenance. So I think so much of the conversation, the reason we're here, and it's true with most anything in our life, the reason that we're here is because of things that happened in the past. Every now and then I walk with a limp. You know why? Because I played football and I took some hits on my knees, and so they get achy when the weather changes, things like that, right? Well, that's because of something that happened in history. Okay, that's what explains it. So I think the same in the racial conversation. When we look at what we're looking at, it seems really simple to go, okay, let's just throw everything out that ever happened and let's just start where we are now. But the effects of what we didn't do right historically are still at play today. Not for everybody and not in the same way, but they're still at play. And so if we don't understand those effects, then we don't know how to, if you will, subscribe the right solution or the right medicine for the sickness that we're dealing with to some extent.
Yeah. I mean, I think about, the truth is, I love everything you said. And I think that there are some things in the past that you could leave in the past.
Sure.
So you don't have to revisit everything. Not, you know what I mean? Like some things could be left. But there are some other things from the past that need to be looked at if you're actually going to deal with what's in front of you, like you're saying. Like, I'm also thinking about Rafiki. Like, he's like...
Rafiki from Lion King?
Yeah, man. He give the lesson to Simba. He's like... He whaps him on the head and he said, sure. Why'd you do that? He says, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. Yeah, he's like, and that's the whole lesson. The whole way, I mean, you went there. The whole lesson Rafiki was trying to make is that the past can hurt, but you have to face it. You can't run from it. You have to go back to deal with it. So, and so Disney has helped us.
As always. They've always got some.
The Lion King finds its way in so many of your conversations. Yeah, but it is a good point in the story that Simba's running away from his past, and in order to get to his future, he's actually got to face that past, and deal with it to find his place and all that stuff. And I think there's a kind of connectedness to the race conversation where um, in order for us to deal with the ongoing influx of racial diversity in our nation, we have to look back at how we've poorly dealt with that, even if it looks slightly different.
Sure.
In order to not, at minimum, make the same mistakes that we were making.
Right.
Because we're going to be presented with similar new faces to similar challenges.
Yeah.
At the very minimum, we have to be able to move forward and evolve in a safe way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very forward and futuristic thinking. But also, yes, there's reconciliation and there's animus and difficulty that we need to overcome, and that takes looking back at history as well. You know, if you're married and you have a difficulty in your marriage, you don't just say, "Hey, we're going to start over right now and go forward." Like, you've got to deal with the yesterday of your marriage, the habits that yesterday formed, the ways you've changed, the way you looked at your spouse, the way you talk. All those things that have happened you've been conditioned over time to deal with each other a certain type of way over years, that just saying, "Hey, we're going to stop today and move forward," doesn't quite work. You've got to work through all of that. There's so much more that's happening than just the face, the front, or the what's on the face of the issue.
Veneer.
Yeah, there's these other things, and so we have to look back. We have to look back to see, what has history done to us? What has it taught us? What has it created in us? What environments have it created? How do we undo the unhelpful and unhealthy versions of that in order to move forward and realize the future that we actually are desiring? You got to do it.
I was going to say, if you don't at least see where the mistakes were, you can make all the changes that, like, you can add on and add on and add on. But if you keep making the mistakes, it's going to continue to undermine the future relationship. And so without at least identifying where the problems were so you can stop repeating them, you can't start new without at least eliminating the wrong.
Agree.
And identifying.
Yeah.
First,
the mindset of this person typically is an efficient mindset. I want to be efficient. But this mindset would also say, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Let's not go do things that other people have done already, or make mistakes other people have made. That's inefficient.
Yeah.
But when you say the mindset isn't just to be efficient, I think sometimes at the root of it, the mindset is a fear of assigning blame.
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. But even if you have the person who's just like, to them, it's like, well, let's just solve the problem. Like, to them, they're like, going backward feels like it's a waste of time. Let's just go forward. And you're like, no, it's not a waste of time. It's actually the quickest path to forward. You know, it's not the end around.
Right. You're taking away obstacles. What do they say? Smooth is, what is it? Smooth is slow, slow is fast, or something like that.
Yeah.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Right. And so there's a sense of the efficiency. There's an urgency, a short-term fix. They want to get it done in their lifetime. And the things we're talking about, I don't think they're getting done in our lifetime.
Yep.
Particularly if we don't identify, to your point, Shmevin, if we don't identify the mistakes, learn from other people's mistakes, and then as we're, presented with new opportunities to make that mistake, that we don't go, "Hey, I think we've been here before, and we made this mistake."
This smells familiar.
You know what I mean?
I think we've made this mistake.
And what's funny is it's a very American axiom, or maybe, I don't know where it comes from, but I know that we use it in America. Is like, if you don't, those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. You know what I mean? And from a scriptural standpoint, I mean, we look in the past all the time, right? Like, every Christmas and every Easter, we're looking in the past. Yeah. We're understanding even our what we have to deal with in sin today, for those who are just born, is something that happened in history. It happened at Adam and Eve. In the way that our Jewish brothers and sisters, they do feasts throughout the year where they're constantly thinking back to when they were in slavery in Egypt. They have a whole feast about this, God reminding them of what he did for them. So they think about it because it reminds us not just of the bad things, but looking back also can be a place where we can go, look what good things we did here. Yeah. How do we repeat that as well? And maybe that's part of the conversation that doesn't usually come in. To Kevin, to your point, where people go, when you look back in the past, you're going to identify the problems. You're going to identify someone who's at the blame for that. But you can also do the same thing with the good things. You can go back in our American history past and you can identify when people did really good things to undo some of the bad things and identify who gets the blame for that as well, if you will. Yeah. And I think from a conversation where many times it's white people not wanting to look in the past, I think white people can get the blame for the things that were incorrect, but they also get a lot of blame for the things that were correct, that are helpful and corrective for that, along with others as well. So that's moving us in the forward. And remember, that comes to you not from K Immigration Law, but sponsored by K Immigration Law, right? Your trusted partner in immigration. Check it out. So that has been another segment of Say What?
Saith what?
Saith what?